Hello and welcome to another episode of my Facts and Glitches series, where I showcase the best discoveries in Red Dead Redemption 2 that have been found by speedrunners and my awesome viewers. During the mission Exit Pursued by a Bruised Ego, when you go hunting with Hosea to find a wild bear, you can actually get an expensive horse for free.
I'm in the market for a new horse, something strong and fast.
Well, you're in the right place.
To do this, you need to purchase the cheapest horse Arthur can buy, then go to the Dutch Warmblood horse and feed it. This will result in it being marked as a temporary horse on the map. You then finish the mission as normal, and afterwards return to that same stable, and it will give you the option to stable the horse that you fed. Obviously, you can't normally feed a horse in the stable, it's just a weird quirk of this mission. In the mission The Sheep and the Goats, when you herd sheep as a way to make money for the gang, you are actually able to blow up the sheep just before they enter the pen, and the cutscene plays out as if nothing happened.
Fine sheep.
They're okay.
You seen better around here?
I've seen ones with less ambiguity.
There is a way to transfer all of Arthur's money to John in the epilogue.
Well, ain't this a rare treat?
Right before Arthur's final mission, you can go to the Aberdeen pig farm. Once there, Arthur will be drugged by two strangers who will then steal all of Arthur's money. Once you wake up, rather than getting revenge, you can continue and finish all of Arthur's remaining missions. The result of this is that when you return to the farm as John, you can retrieve all of Arthur's money that was stashed behind the painting. Knowing about this is useful because John normally starts the epilogue with no money. An interesting additional fact is that the person who voices Bray at the Aberdeen pig farm is actually the same person who voices Brad in GTA 5's prologue mission.
I'm setting the charges. They're on a timer, so brace yourselves.
That smells delicious. The food don't smell too bad neither.
Oh, stop it, you!
You can obtain Micah's revolver very early in the game. During the Chapter 1 mission Old Friends, if you disarm an enemy and lure them to Micah, they can knock the revolver out of his hands, which allows you to pick it up and keep it for the rest of the game. While Micah's revolver isn't significantly better than a standard double-action revolver, it's still a cool and rare weapon to have that early in the story. Also, fuck Micah. In the Stranger mission Idealism and Pragmatism for Beginners, where you help the mayor complete corrupt tasks in Saint Denis, you are given the option to kill his assistant Marc. If you do this, you are told to dispose of the body by dumping it in the lake with alligators, and if you come back after the mission and fish in the same lake, you're actually able to fish his arm out of the water. Arthur will in fact recognize whose arm it is.
Damn! Marc? Is that you? I'm sorry, buddy.
You can skip a large section of the Chapter 4 mission, Angelo Bronte, a Man of Honor. Normally at the direction of Bronte, you take out some grave robbers, look around until you find their stash, retrieve their money, sneak out, and go back to toss the money to Bronte's guard. Instead of all of this, after taking out the grave robbers, you can simply climb out of the graveyard, skipping the collection of the money entirely, and then return to Bronte's guard. Despite having never picked it up, Arthur will still toss the money to the guard in the cutscene. Aiming your gun and using Deadeye just before an alligator surprise attacks you will cause the alligator to go flying in a very funny way. High velocity ammo is the only bullet type in the game that passes through targets. This means if you line up multiple enemies, you can get collateral hits with a single bullet. 3 targets is the maximum number a bullet can pierce, no matter the distance.
Good. I don't have the energy for this.
However, the damage drop-off will still be different, depending on the distance you are shooting from. To avoid the long animation of drawing a gun from your horse, you can tell your horse to flee right as you select your weapon. This will result in Arthur instantly having the gun equipped. However, this does come at the cost of your horse running away, meaning this is only a situational time save. On the mission Old Friends, where you raid an O'Driscoll camp at the start of the game, you are tasked with hog-tying Kieran, resulting in a lengthy conversation.
What are you gonna do to me?
Something you ain't gonna like. They're real nice.
Found a little shit, did you?
Yep.
It turns out you can skip this by lassoing him and dragging him back to camp. He amazingly survives, and this saves you time and the need to hear him yap.
I got him.
The sound of holstering a firearm in Red Dead Redemption 2 is the same sound in Red Dead Redemption 1. On the mission The Fine Joys of Tobacco, just as Arthur is about to enter the mansion, there is a man at the door inviting Arthur to come inside.
Come along now, sir.
If you choose to ignore him and you don't enter the mansion, he will keep asking you to step inside.
I hate to rush you, but I'm expected in the pantry. This way, please.
However, if you wait long enough to hear all of his voice lines play, you can actually hear that one of the lines is recorded by a different voice actor.
This way, please. Is everything all right, sir?
In the Chapter 3 mission advertising the new American Artform, after saving Hosea, you are expected to follow him to the balcony where a cutscene plays showcasing you jumping off after him and onto the wagon. Surprisingly, you do have another option. You can instead shoot out the earlier window and climb out to get to the wagon. Not only does this skip the cutscene, but we also get to watch Hosea clipping through the seat to get to the horse's reins. John, like Arthur, cannot rob people while drunk. His interactions while attempting to do so are quite funny.
All your money.
You poor bastard.
I'll take your money. Now,
Now that's unfortunate.
you got some cash?
Oh, I'm glad I'm not you.
Calloway's Revolver has the words Canis Canem Edit on the barrel of the gun. The phrase is Latin and translates to dog eat dog. This is actually the European title for the Rockstar game Bully. On the mission An Honest Mistake where you rob Leviticus Cornwall's wagon, when the gang is eventually caught hiding inside the shed, you can actually fling Uncle and Bill using dynamite. While they will eventually die, for some reason they have a loss of health, so this can cause some very funny scenes. You can even fling people out the window with enough skill.
I've got this, Uncle. Look out!
Using mods we can gain access to cut content that is technically still in the game, one example being the Emerald Ranch General Store. This store was actually accessible at one point in an earlier version of Red Dead Online, but was closed off for unknown reasons. The lore for this store is that they were unable to compete with the thriving towns and cities around the area, so they had to close. When you are fighting and your opponent gets to low HP, if you grab and punch them near a window, Arthur will throw them out of it. In the final mission of the game American Venom, where John hunts down Micah to get revenge for Arthur, something funny happens if you shoot Micah with a poison arrow during the short shootout they have. This will result in Micah dying, but as he needs to be alive for the next scene, the game gets confused and will not progress any further.
Come on now, Micah! At least die like a man!
When you start the Chapter 4 mission, The Joys of Civilization, Dutch appears to surprise Arthur.
Stick 'em up, cowboy.
However, if you don't start the mission and instead disturb the peace near the mission, a bizarre glitch occurs where Dutch spawns on the roof of the saloon despite that the mission hasn't started. He'll usually try to run off the roof, sometimes getting stuck, but he can also fall off and end up in a shootout with the law.
I'll see you in hell.
If he does manage to get down, Dutch will eventually flee the scene and despawn. In the Chapter 6 mission, The Fine Art of Conversation, there is a 2-minute long ride where Arthur, Rains Fall, and Charles Smith discuss their trials ahead.
Maybe that's part of the reason they're doing these things. Because they want you to fight.
It turns out that this entire ride can be skipped. At the start, you just need to move to the side and throw a fire bottle against a tree. Not only does this make the name of the mission somewhat ironic, while there are other sections of the game where you can skip dialogue with fire, this is the only one that can be done on a horse. During the epilogue in Saint Denis, John speaks to a Chelonian cult leader who tells him of their new leader.
A new master has been found!
If you then travel to the same mountain location that Arthur has the option to visit in Chapter 2,
the boy has chosen a path. He's chosen safety.
You'll witness the cult members leap off the cliff crying Chelonia, which is their name for paradise.
Follow me! Follow me to Chelonia!
If you choose to follow their example, John will dramatically proclaim his faith in that paradise. So that's it for the episode. Thank you for watching. If you think you know of anything that would be of interest to this series, feel free to add it to my Discord. I wish you all the best.